Yeah.
So how come it seems like in the music industry it's like one of those things where it's always like if I got jerked, I'm gonna use that same method. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm gonna start jerking people.
That ain't just the music industry. That's man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And,
Like that's something with us, man. It's like because we went through it, you gotta go. No, it don't work like that.
and I gotta ask you, man, what do you think this whole 360 deal thing, man?
Listen, it's but you know what? Here's my deal on the 360. It's like this. If you can compartmentalize why they're giving you the 360, then I think you can mentally prepare yourself better for the 360. Okay. Just hear me out. So if you're coming to somebody and you have nothing,
okay,
you're not investing in anything.
Yeah.
Right? You didn't put a dime up for nothing. Not your studio time, not getting the records in the right hands, not, you know what I'm saying, none of your marketing, none of your promotion, and you're coming to someone that has money and saying, hey, I like your talent. What I want to do is I want to put X amount of dollars into your talent, right?
Yeah.
How do I get a return on my investment? Where does it come from?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you can compartmentalize that, then I think you may be able to understand the 360 better. But if you're already coming with something that you brought to the table, somebody wants to come and take the lion's share of what you've already established. Hell no. 360 like you don't have to. Matter of fact, you can just continue to do what you do. But the problem with a lot of people is that they don't want to put in the sweat equity to keep their machine running. So that's why they go outside to get, additional funds to keep it popping. You know what I'm saying? But again, if you are bringing something to the table and somebody tries to take the lion's share of that away from you, then it don't make sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times, like artists enter into these bad deals or bad situations for two reasons. One being, the desire, like you said, like I just want to be on, and then two being, sadly, that people may believe in them more than they believe in themselves. I say that because there's situations where people sell their publishing, for dirt cheap because they think in short term instead of long term.
Right.
And, you have situations, like you said, like a personal sign, a 360 deal, like, well, I'm going to get whatever amount of dollars. And then a lot of times it seems like to me is that people get upset when they outperform whatever it is they signed for, right? Like, so you're like, hey, give me, we had an artist on here. He was talking about he sold his publishing for, I think, a couple of $100,000. In my mind, it goes to, okay, if somebody was willing to give you a couple of $100,000 for your publishing, what really is your publishing worth 5 or 10 years from now? So do you come up against that? Do you see that happen a lot where people, they'll sign these deals today and then later on realize, oh, snap, the value of my work is actually more than what I was given originally? And how do you sign that?
I mean, you gotta, okay, so going back to what you said, you gotta believe in yourself and you gotta have a foresight, right? So if you're in a position at that particular, this is what, if you put yourself in a vulnerable position, right? I think a lot of people put themselves in a vulnerable position where somebody can come at the right time and say, hey, I got $100,000. You'll never see $100,000 in your life. Let me get that. You know what I mean? And make you believe that. Right. Then, so it's twofold. Are you getting jerked, or what they saying is actually true? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't predict what your publishing is worth at that particular time. You can't. So it's a gamble. It's just like any business venture. It's a gamble. It's like, okay, if you got a plan for that $100,000 right now, right, and you don't know what that publishing is going to be worth 10 years from now, then take that $100,000 and go on with your plan. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't got a plan, and there's $100,000 in front of you, and all you're gonna do is take that $100,000 and go buy a car or go buy, you know what I'm saying, chain or something like that, then it's like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Yeah. So you gotta have a certain type of business acumen. And see, these are the things that I want to teach these kids out here about how business works and how the music industry works. I mean, but business in general, these are all business transactions, right? You gotta have a certain a sense of business to understand what is a good deal, what's not a good deal. When is the right time to pull the trigger on something? When is the right time to say no? You know what I'm saying? I always teach my clients, always be prepared when you're negotiating, to be prepared to walk up from the table. Go into a negotiation knowing I could get up and walk away at any time and be good and be gravy, because that means you have leverage. If you go to a negotiation table without leverage, you're gonna get got every time.
Yeah. What I think happens also is that most of the time when we hear these stories, it's usually stories about how people's catalogs or whatever it is have outperformed whatever they were initially given. We don't hear a lot of the stories about how somebody overpaid. Like, we gave this person $500,000, but the revenue generated was substantially less. These stories are around the industry, and even as outsiders of the industry, we constantly hear about them. But as a consumer of music and a fan of music, I always say to myself, like, with these stories being around for so many years, right? Hip hop, 51 years old, and it's been documented, like, that artists get jerked, but people keep falling for the same same banana over. It's amazing. It's amazing. But again, I think it goes back to vulnerability. I think it goes back to lack of leverage, like and belief in self, and belief in the product that you own. And I think it's damn near like how the story they're trying to teach us about the housing market. Like, they're trying to downplay the value of home ownership. Why? There has to be a reason why. Because they're trying to these corporations and companies are trying to sell all the homes. They want to make you believe that owning a home is not it. Are you kidding me? That is your bank. Like, I don't understand. That's a bank. That's your bank. You don't have to go to a bank ever again if you own a home. You understand me? Come on, man. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
I was going to ask something along publishing. So, from a true lawyer's perspective, how does publishing work, and what is it designed to do?
Okay, so publishing is essentially ownership of your intellectual property, and it's designed for you to be able to eat off of that ownership forever, depending on if you choose to license the material, sell the material, or grant a license to sell the material. But it is ownership that is designed for you to eat off of it in perpetuity. And that's the part that I think doesn't sink in with a lot of when someone approaches you with X amount of, first of all, you got to understand what the value of what you own is worth, in your mind, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not a set price, right? Right. It could diminish or it could increase at any given time. But you take yourself completely out of the game once you relinquish ownership. So then someone else can come along, buy it, and then put their joint in commercials, put the joint in movies, put the joint on a television show that's now running in syndication. And then they eat off of that for the existence of that show, that movie, that, you know what I'm saying? So you got it, like, it's really a lack of education, you know what I mean? And then there's some people that have enough have enough ownership of enough material and other things. That's why when you see these deals where Jay-Z sold half of his catalog, and this, that, and the third sold half of their catalog, it's like, first of all, the return on that joint is something stupid. It ain't just $100,000. We talking about billions of dollars. You know what I mean? And they ain't gonna do nothing, but they already got an investment ready for that, to flip that into double and quadruple that. So we're not even talking in terms of that. You know what I'm saying? We're talking in terms of people like myself and people like, people in our category that aren't getting that much for the publishing. So it's like, if somebody comes along and hands you $5,000, but you take yourself completely out of the game where 20 years from now, my kid may be able to eat off of something that I own that happens to get placed in a commercial 20 years from now. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. How difficult is it for an artist to get that publishing back?
I mean, for everything, there's a price. So you got money, you can buy it back. How much is it worth once you want to buy it back is the question. You know what I'm saying? It could be a situation where if somebody bought your publishing, nothing happened with it, and you come along and you say, hey, I got $10,000. Well, I ain't made no money off of it anyway, so here, take your publishing back. So it's really, you know, how much is it worth at the time that you want to buy it back? But you can buy it back for the right price.
Now, I don't know what I'm thinking in terms of like, so standard recording contracts back then, was there something in a standard recording contract that also had an artist relinquishing a portion of their publishing?
Absolutely. That was the standard. That was the standard. You at least give it up 50%. Wow. That's what my contract was. You know what I'm saying? And depending on who's doing the deal, you know, you may not get anything in return. I was supposed to get $10,000 for my publishing. I never received that. You know what I'm saying? Because they did, and it was my fault because I lost the first copy of my contract. So by right, you know, you can request a copy of the contract. And when I got the contract back, though, it said that I sold my publishing for $1. Right.
Yeah, right. Well,
the contract had white out on it.
You need to copy and paste and scratch it out.
Wow.
Hence, part of the reason why we went to law school. See, it's learn from your mistakes. Didn't you? You know what I'm saying?
Correct that error right there.
But nah, 50 back then it was 50-50 was the standard. 50-50 was the standard. And you were lucky if, and there were some joints that was 100%, but 50-50 was a standard, and you were lucky if you got some money for it. You have to negotiate, like your lawyer has to negotiate. I just did a deal where, you know, somebody was looking for a 50-50 deal, and they weren't offering no money for it, and I said, oh hell no. If you're gonna give up, I don't care if you're known or not. If you're asking me off the rip for 50% of something that I created, you know what I'm saying? Then that costs something. You got to give me something.
I got to eat on that for me.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you got to give me something.
Yo, and the crazy thing is a recording contract is mad pages. They should have just put soul and an X next to it.
Yeah.